Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, Raja Gogasikotar 1719. Imagine this. One night, you look up at the sky, and suddenly, a blazing light cuts through the darkness. It's not a star, it's not a plane, it's something far more mysterious. A glowing object with a massive tail stretching across the sky like a cosmic sword. For a moment, everything feels still. And then, a question hits your mind. What if this is not just a beautiful sight, but a warning? Thousands of years ago, humans believed these objects were messages from the gods, a sign of war, destruction, or massive change. Kings feared them, empires recorded them, and people prayed, hoping disaster would not follow. One such object that terrified and fascinated humanity for centuries is Halley's Comet. Every time it appeared, history seemed to shift. Coincidence or something more? But here's the truth. What we once feared, science now studies. These glowing visitors are called comets, ancient, powerful, and unpredictable. But the real mystery is not just what they are. The real mystery is, what are they trying to tell us? Are they harmless travelers from deep space, the creators of life on Earth, or silent destroyers waiting for the right moment? Because hidden inside these icy objects are secrets older than our planet itself. And today, we begin a journey to uncover the truth behind comets and their mysteries. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will completely change the way you look at the night sky. 1. What exactly is a comet? So, what exactly are comets? Are they just glowing stars, or something far more mysterious? The truth is, a comet is like a frozen time capsule, carrying secrets from the birth of our solar system, billions of years ago, when planets were still forming. Leftover pieces of ice, dust, and rock were pushed far away into the dark edges of space. And those forgotten pieces became comets. But here's what makes them truly fascinating. A comet is not just one solid object. It has different parts, each more mysterious than the other. At the center lies the nucleus, a small, dark, frozen core made of ice, rock, and dust. It may look quiet, but inside it holds material that is older than Earth itself. Now here's where things get interesting. As a comet travels closer to the sun, it begins to wake up. The heat of the sun starts melting its frozen surface, turning solid ice directly into gas. This process creates a glowing cloud around it, called the coma. And then, something magical happens. A long, bright tail forms, stretching millions of kilometers across space. But here's the shocking truth. The tail does not follow the comet. It always points away from the sun, no matter which direction the comet is moving. The sun's radiation and solar wind literally push the tail backwards. Think about that. A massive object traveling through space, with a tail that behaves in the opposite direction. Strange, right? And it gets even more mysterious. Some comets have two tails, one made of dust, one made of charged gas, both reacting differently to the sun's energy. And here's something most people don't know. Comets don't come from nearby space. They come from the most distant, unknown regions of our solar system. The Kuiper Belt, a region beyond Neptune. And the mysterious Oort cloud, a vast, invisible shell surrounding our solar system. In fact, the Oort cloud is so far away that no human has ever seen it directly. Yet, it may contain trillions of comets. Just imagine that. Trillions of icy objects, silently waiting in the darkness. And sometimes, without warning, one of them begins a journey toward the sun, toward Earth. So now the question is, are comets just leftovers of creation? Or are they messengers, carrying something much bigger? Because what we've discovered about them so far is only the beginning. 2. The most famous comet in history. Now, let's talk about a comet that didn't just pass through the sky. It changed human history. A comet so famous that it has been recorded for more than 2,000 years. Its name? Halley's Comet. This is not an ordinary comet. It returns to Earth's sky every 76 years, which means a single human can see it only once, or at most twice in their lifetime. Think about that. A cosmic visitor that appears, disappears, and then comes back, like it's following a hidden schedule. But what made it truly legendary was not just its beauty, it was the fear it created. In ancient times, people didn't understand science, so when this glowing object suddenly appeared in the sky, they believed it was a sign of something terrible. War, death, destruction. One of the most famous moments in history happened in the year 1066. Just before a massive battle in England, this comet appeared in the sky. Soldiers saw it, kings feared it, and people believed something big was about to happen. That event later became part of the Norman conquest, and many believed the comet was a warning from the heavens. But here's where the story takes a surprising turn. Centuries later, a scientist named Edmund Halley studied records of this comet's appearances, and he noticed something incredible. This wasn't different comets appearing again and again. It was the same comet returning. For the first time in history, a human predicted when a comet would come back. And when it returned exactly as he predicted, the world changed forever. Comets were no longer just signs of fear. They became objects of science. But the mystery didn't end there. In 1986, when this comet returned again, scientists sent spacecraft to study it up close, and what they discovered was shocking. Instead of being a bright, shiny object, the surface of the comet was dark, rough, and full of jets of gas exploding into space. It was alive, active, unpredictable, almost like a sleeping giant that wakes up when it comes near the sun. So now the question is, if one comet can return again and again, how many more are out there, following invisible paths, waiting for their moment to appear? Because the story of this comet proves one thing. What we once feared as a sign of doom might actually be a pattern we are only beginning to understand. 3. Are comets a threat to Earth? Now, let's face the most important question. Are comets just beautiful objects in the sky? Or are they a real danger to Earth? Because what you're about to hear might change how safe you feel on this planet. Comets don't move slowly. They travel through space at speeds of up to 70 kilometers per second. That's faster than anything humans have ever built. Now imagine something that fast, something that massive, heading directly toward Earth. There would be no stopping it, no second chances, only impact. And that impact would not be small. It would release energy equal to millions of nuclear bombs exploding at once. The ground would shake, the sky would burn, and life as we know it, could end. This is not imagination. This has already happened before. Around 66 million years ago, a massive object struck Earth, triggering one of the most devastating events in history, Chicxulub Impact. This single event is believed to have wiped out the dinosaurs and changed the course of life forever. But here's the mystery. Was it really an asteroid, or could it have been a comet? Some scientists believe a long-period comet, coming from the far reaches of space, may have broken apart and struck Earth. If that's true, then the danger is far greater than we thought, because asteroids mostly come from known regions. But comets? They come from the deep unknown, from places we can barely observe. And sometimes, they appear with very little warning. That's what makes them terrifying, unpredictable, fast, and incredibly powerful. But here's the twist. Today, scientists around the world are constantly watching the sky. Organizations like NASA are tracking near-Earth objects, trying to detect any potential threat, using powerful telescopes and advanced technology. They are searching for anything that could collide with Earth. But even with all this technology, we cannot detect everything. Some objects are too dark, too distant, too sudden, which means there is always a small chance that something is already on its way, and we don't even know it yet. So now ask yourself, are comets just silent travelers in space, or ticking time bombs, waiting for the right moment? Because in the vast darkness of the universe, not everything that shines is harmless. 4. Did comets create life on Earth? Now, let's go deeper into the mystery. What if I told you the reason you exist today, the reason life exists on Earth, might be connected to comets? Sounds unbelievable, right? But some scientists think this might actually be true. Billions of years ago, Earth was not the blue planet we see today. It was a burning, lifeless world, too hot, too violent, too unstable for life. There were no oceans, no rain, no living organisms, just fire, rock, and chaos. So the question is, how did life begin? This is where comets enter the story. Scientists have discovered that comets are not just ice and dust. They also contain water, carbon-based molecules, organic compounds, the building blocks of life. And here comes the shocking theory, panspermia. According to this idea, life didn't actually start on Earth. Instead, the ingredients of life were delivered here by comets. Imagine this. For millions of years, comets crashing into early Earth, bringing water, molecule by molecule, drop by drop, until oceans were formed. And along with that water, they may have carried the first chemical seeds of life, which means every living thing today, including you, could have a connection to these icy visitors from space. In a way, we are not just children of Earth. We are children of the cosmos. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Modern space missions have actually found organic molecules on comets, molecules that are essential for life. This means the theory is not just imagination anymore. It has scientific evidence behind it. But the mystery is still not fully solved, because scientists are still asking, did comets only bring the ingredients of life, or did they bring life itself? And if life can travel through space, then another question arises. Are we truly alone in the universe, or is life quietly spreading? from planet to planet, carried by comets across the stars. Because if this theory is true, then every comet that passes by is not just a rock of ice. It's a messenger of life. 5. Humanity chases a comet. For thousands of years, humans could only watch comets from a distance, fear them, admire them, and wonder what they really are. But then, everything changed. We stopped just looking at comets and decided to chase them. Yes, humanity actually sent machines across space to follow, study, and even land on a comet. One of the most incredible missions in history was led by European Space Agency. Its name was the Rosetta mission. Launched in 2004, it traveled billions of kilometers through space, all for one target: Comet 67 P. Churyumov-Gerasimenko. Now think about this. A tiny spacecraft trying to meet a fast-moving comet in the vast emptiness of space. The timing had to be perfect. One small mistake, and the mission would fail. But after a journey of 10 years, Rosetta did something no one had ever done before. It reached the comet. And then, it went one step further. It released a small lander named Philae, which actually landed on the surface of a comet. For the first time in human history, we touched one of these mysterious objects, and what we discovered was beyond imagination. The surface of the comet was dark, almost black, covered in dust and rocky material, and constantly releasing jets of gas into space. It wasn't just a frozen rock. It was active, dynamic, and alive with energy. Even more shocking, scientists detected complex organic molecules on the comet, the same types of molecules that are connected to the origin of life. This discovery gave strong support to the idea that comets may have played a role in creating life on Earth. But that's not all. The comet also had a very strange shape, almost like a rubber duck, which confused scientists even more. How does something like that even form? Was it once two separate objects that merged together, or something else entirely? Even after landing on it, the comet still kept its secrets. And that's what makes this story so powerful. We traveled billions of kilometers, spent years planning, used the most advanced technology ever built. And yet, we still don't fully understand comets. So now the question is, if this is what we discovered from just one comet, what secrets are hidden in the millions of others, still floating in the darkness? Because the more we explore, the more we realize we are only scratching the surface. 6. The mysteries we still can't explain. After everything we've discovered, after sending missions across billions of kilometers, you would think we understand comets by now. But the truth is, comets are still full of secrets, and some of those secrets are truly unsettling. Let's start with one of the strangest mysteries. Some comets suddenly change their path, not slowly, not predictably, but unexpectedly, almost as if something invisible is pushing them. Scientists believe it might be caused by gas jets erupting from their surface. But here's the problem. The movement doesn't always match the theory, which means there's still something we don't fully understand. Now here's another mystery. Comets sometimes break apart, without warning. No collision, no clear reason. They simply split into pieces, as if they're too fragile to survive their own journey. But why? Are they structurally weak? Or is something happening deep inside them that we cannot see? And then comes an even bigger question. What's actually inside a comet? We've seen the surface, but the core? Still unknown. Is it solid ice? A loose collection of debris? Or something completely different? No one knows for sure. And now, the most disturbing mystery of all. How many comets are out there that we haven't detected yet? Remember, most comets come from the distant Oort cloud, a region so far away that we cannot directly observe it. It may contain trillions of comets, and sometimes one of them begins a journey toward the sun, toward Earth, without giving us enough time to react. That's what makes comets different from asteroids. Asteroids mostly stay within known paths, but comets, they come from the deep unknown, fast, silent, unpredictable. So now think about this. At this very moment, somewhere in the darkness of space, a comet could already be on its way, and we might not even know it yet. This is not fear. This is reality, because space is vast, and our knowledge is still limited. But maybe that's what makes comets so fascinating. They remind us that no matter how advanced we become, there are still mysteries in the universe that refuse to be solved. And maybe some secrets are not meant to be discovered so easily. 7. Final truth. Beauty, creation, or destruction. So now, after everything we've explored, one final question remains. What are comets really? Are they just beautiful lights in the sky? Something to admire for a few moments, and then forget? Or are they something far more powerful, far more important? Because when we look deeper, comets are not just objects. They are stories. Stories from a time before Earth existed, before life began, before humanity even had a chance to ask questions. They carry pieces of the beginning of our solar system, frozen in time, traveling silently through the darkness for billions of years. And sometimes, they come close enough for us to see them, almost like the universe is trying to remind us where we came from. But at the same time, these same objects hold the power to destroy everything we know, just like the Chicxulub Impact changed life on Earth forever. Another such event could happen again, not tomorrow, not next year, but someday. And that truth is both terrifying and humbling, because it reminds us we are not in control of everything. We are part of something much bigger, a universe that is beautiful, but also unpredictable. And maybe that's the real meaning of comets. They are not just creators of life, not just destroyers of worlds. They are a reminder that life itself is fragile, precious, and temporary. So the next time you look up at the night sky and you see a glowing comet passing by, don't just see it as a beautiful object. See it as a message from the universe, telling you are part of this infinite story, a story that began billions of years ago and is still being written right now. Now I want to ask you something. If a comet appeared in the sky tonight, what would you feel? Fear, wonder, or curiosity? Comment below your answer and tell me, do you believe comets created life? Or could they destroy it? And if you want to explore more mysteries of the universe, don't forget to subscribe, because this journey has only just begun. So friends, this was today's amazing information. Hope you liked this video and learned something new. If you found the video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you again in the next video with another new and surprising thing. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned to learn. Jai Goga Sikatar Ma.